You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Low Winter Sun After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Low Winter Sun After Show.
Hey everybody, Bing is for doing, and we are here doing another Low Winter Sun after show. This is episode 105, Cake on the Way. I am Matt Lieberman, and joining me, as always, is the fantastic Miss Stef Z.
Hello, hello.
And the lovely and talented Miss Oriana Leo.
Hi there.
And we have a very, very special guest this week, Mr. James Harvey Ward, who plays Michael on Low Winter Sun. Welcome, James.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, thank you for coming at such a grave hour. I'm so glad we got you this week, because I'm worried we might not have been able to get you later on. We don't know.
Man, am I available?
Okay.
Okay. Hey, man. So the big development this week, and we're just going to jump right into it, is that you are a casualty in the major shootout between Papa T and Damon's crew. A lot's up in the air, and we don't know where Damon is going to strike next, if he's going to go. We saw in the scenes coming up, he might be going back to Skelos in an attempt to take some revenge on Papa T's crew.
Do we think right away that he's for sure dead? Do we think there's no change of heart? I mean, we kind of like fade out with.
Okay, so I'm kind of thinking that Maya, there's the look, like she
Yeah.
looked. Maya's gonna be like, move
I don't
over,
know.
Damon. I'm driving him to the
No!
hospital.
I mean, we didn't see dead boy.
Yes, we basically did.
He's like, I can't tell you
Yeah,
anymore.
James, you look like the cat who ate the canary. But like, the lights going off in the car, they're just sitting there in the dead Michael filth. Okay,
Right.
There's no way he's alive. You don't do that at the end of the
There's-
episode.
it's the magic of television. There's
I'm
always a
sorry.
way.
I'm sorry. I wish you were alive, but I don't think you're alive.
I'm dead.
You're dead.
You're dead.
Are you for sure dead?
I'm dead.
You're dead.
I'm dead.
Oh my God, don't be dead.
Yeah, I'm dead.
Yeah, I'm
You
sorry.
can say that with surety.
I'm.
I think he can.
It doesn't mean I'm done. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Ah.
Yes,
You know what I
it
mean?
does.
But yeah, that's the way I played it.
Yeah.
That I was dead.
I thought that was very clear.
You know? Yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, because I think it's being dead is supposed to kind of shift the trajectory of Damon's character.
Absolutely.
You know, where what he's trying to do or who he's trying to be is bigger than anything I meant to him, or that us growing up meant to each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's like at the end of the day, it was about covering himself.
Absolutely.
Which is just so sad. It's so sad because he absolutely needs you. Like, the dude is just like, he's way overreaching. He thinks he can be Skelos, and he loses his most trusted friend and confidant.
Not much of a plan.
No.
Not much of a plan.
much.
And you
It's
can
never
see
been a
what
plan.
it's doing to Maya and
Yeah.
his relationship.
Yeah.
And she's coming up. I think she's coming up with a little power trip. She seems to be.
Oh, she calls the shots.
She totally
She
calls the
totally
shots.
calls
She's certainly
the shots.
much like, for me, watching as a viewer more or reading it more, like just grounded and living that life.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem
Right.
like with Damon's character, with PJ's character, it seems like work for him to be
Right.
that guy. She just
Right.
kind of who she is
Naturally
and runs
fits
that
into
bar,
it.
and she just like
Which is so
controls the world.
Which is so interesting because clearly coming from being married to Sean, who is an ex-cop, like you want to know how exactly her world got turned upside down.
Well, I mean,
or
did
why.
it get turned upside down?
Or-
Because it doesn't seem like being a cop is any different than being
a criminal.
In
criminal.
Detroit. Yeah.
I mean, particularly as they're portrayed in this show, with the exception
Yeah.
of
Not even a Frank.
Well,
of Danny.
Yeah, Danny.
She's,
Yeah.
You know, she's on the level.
She hasn't been gotten to yet, though.
yeah.
But it's And I mean, you know, if Sean got turned drug-wise, I mean, that's, you know, that stuff is rampant around there. Obviously, it's flying around the show. And
Yeah, Maya even passed him a little bit
Well,
outside of the
And she-
international.
partakes.
Yeah.
All the
You know,
time.
and she's like, she's horribly selfish.
Yeah.
I mean, she's watching her sister raise her kids. She's doing bumps of coke behind an empty bar and helping her new husband run drugs and prostitutes while her ex-husband is on the street out of work and a junkie.
Right.
Right.
So no
When
one.
you put it like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but, I mean,
but
but
they
that's
still-
on paper. But she makes it a real person and not
Right.
like you write that down. And you're like, wow, that's a shitty person.
But she provides so much empathy.
But-
like
right.
it's
Right, there is something underlying
Right.
that
Sure.
she has that you want to be like, oh, she's trying to do something
Right,
right.
right.
not
Yeah.
just that. You want there to be like a moment that her life went off track, you know?
Exactly.
That she wasn't always this person, but that she's seen things and done things that most people would have nightmares about.
Right, and this is what she had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and-
we want to
and-
convince ourselves of that at least, so that we can feel
And I
like
mean, a lot of
she
that
didn't have a
Sprague.
choice.
You
Yeah.
know, like Sprague doing that part is
The actress.
yeah, she's like got strength and vulnerability, and she's like hard but sweet, and you could see her if she got a crack at it being a good mom. You know?
Yeah.
It's just
Or-
a tough hand she got dealt.
At least like doggedly protective of those kids.
Right.
You know, there's a reason why she gave them away, and I think it's not just, you know, that she didn't want to raise them. They would be at a disadvantage if in her care
Yeah,
as of
sure.
right now.
Yeah.
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 I loved that scene between the two of you in the bar this episode, and I almost kind of got like hints of like
Did I like her?
yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I did. I'm glad you did, because
Yeah.
that was the point, or for me it was anyway. I think
Made it that
I
much
think
sadder when
probably
you're calling out
I know,
for
that's
her
what
on
you're
your
that much harder when you're
and-
like, Maya M. What, like,
I think
help me
ultimately
out.
for me, I gave way to what Damon wanted or what I thought was in his best interest, you know, to the downfall of myself. Whether it was I liked Maya, that was the way I was interested in Maya while he was interested in Maya, and it was like, well, he's Damon, so he gets what
He
he
gets what
wants,
he
and I
wants.
kind of
Girl.
stand beside him and behind him and support what he wants to do, and
right.
it got me alone and then, you know, shot in the back of a car.
Damn.
Wow.
That's just the way it
The
happens,
heart.
I think.
It's just the way it is.
Detroit.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to love Maya. Like, she's got all these men in her orbit. Skelos is so super creepy in the way that he acts around her. You were in love with Maya. Damon was in love with Maya.
Papa
Sean
T
was in
got
love
a
with
little
She's got
sugar
balls.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah, she handles herself.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, AMC just in general, not a lot of female parts on that network.
Right.
You know,
She's
of
got a
note.
strong
Or
one.
She's got a strong one.
female, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and there's her, and then there's like Skylar on Breaking Bad, but they're all like there's like one part per show where there's like
yeah,
a
Joan
strong
on
like
Mad Men.
right.
Yeah.
They can really handle themselves and like with men or women and go talk to women when she needs to talk to women.
Right.
You know, like a woman.
Yeah.
And it's like with the man like a man, and it's interesting. I like the part, and I like her the relationships we has with everyone. I like the scene she had last episode with Frank, where he came in and kind of told her, "Stop doing what you're doing."
Yeah.
It was just nice. I mean, it was just easy and real, and I believed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Agreed.
That's part of why we root for her so much, I think.
Yeah.
She's so believable.
Yeah, and there's the whole Lady Macbeth thing. You know, that whole vibe that's going on in
Yeah.
the whole season. So.
How do you think Michael's death will affect them? Like for Damon, is it just that the abandoned got robbed, or is it that his best friend is dead? You know, how does Maya react? Are they grieving, or are they just pissed that they got robbed and one of their guys got shot?
I think grieving.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that there's a voice of reason. And I think he really cared about me.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's a selfish move at the end, but I think he cared, and I think I stuck around because I know he cared, like in his own way.
Do you think
know.
this will make him realize that he doesn't have a plan?
I think that a lot of times in these sorts of situations, like blood will be answered with blood, so the plan just gets even
Worse.
worse.
Sure.
Continues to be by trying to form a plan, it just turns into more lack of a plan.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I don't even know what I'm
It's just
saying.
chaos, pretty much.
Yeah, chaos,
Yeah.
exactly.
He's like,
Chaos
Hilarity
answer-
ensues.
Chaos
Yeah.
answered with chaos, kind of, and violence with violence.
Like an eye with an eye. Yeah.
And I just want to compliment you on that final scene. It was just so tragic. A really, really beautiful performance.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was holding my
Yeah.
breath and my notepad.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and then
It just comes out of nowhere. We're all just like, what?
yeah,
Good.
You know, everyone was just watching the fight, and then all of a sudden, they roll up, and then we're just like, God damn it, Papa T, really, you're gonna do this right now?
Right.
And then, Gus just couldn't let them walk out.
Right.
If he had just
Yeah.
let them walk out, he has
It's
to pop off
amazing
a
what
shot.
you
'cause
can do
it-
with one hand.
Right?
yeah,
Pop off a couple
Dum-dum-dum.
rounds.
call back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you liked it. Those are tough, those scenes. But it was cool to a lot of times. I've died on television or been shot or killed on television a lot, and it's usually you catch a bullet that's back of the head and you fall down,
Yeah.
or cut to and you're laying there dead. There's never
A dying
you don't ever go through
process.
Yeah.
it. And I mean it's rough to shoot. And we were being pulled through downtown Detroit till like 6:30 in the morning, like all night shooting that. We were shooting like these long, like almost like small one acts in the back seat of that car.
Fun times.
So it was
Really intense.
yeah, it was. And I mean you got to stay kind of in a certain place the whole and it's pretty exhausting.
Is it fear or acceptance? Like from an acting perspective, can you walk us through it?
My approach to it.
Yeah.
Well, not to start sounding actory, but oops, too late. The whole like
Actory is the most
the
actory
whole
word.
the whole idea, of acting like truthfully under imaginary circumstances, right?
Right.
So your imagination better be like really crisp, like it better be big, like
Yeah.
the stakes better be huge. And I find that I was fortunate enough to be in the back seat or in the car with 3 people that I cared about in the given circumstances, but also cared about as human beings that I had gotten to know over a couple of months. And then you start attaching what you're saying to things that are real in your life. That's what I do.
Yeah.
And then I had about a 3-song loop on an iPod that I was listening to before I started. And then, sometimes it's just good to have some secrets.
Okay.
You know what I
Fair
mean?
enough. Yeah. Totally.
Because as long as they're mine, they're available to me. When I make them
Sure.
public, it kind of loses some of its...
Sparkle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Magic.
I
Yeah, well
guess.
said.
Fairy
well
dust.
said, yeah.
Very well
know.
said.
So it's but they were really caring, the other 3 in the car.
Yeah.
And like protective of the integrity of the scene and what we were doing, and knowing that it was tough for all of us, because you're covering people. Like there'd be a camera one time on PJ, or one time on Sprague, or one time on Billy, and a camera on me, and it's just a grind.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody wants to be, left out of where. Everybody's been giving their all, and then it's your time to be covered, and everybody's kind of like, I don't want to do this again. I'm tired. Let's just kind of go halfway. But everybody was really involved, and we all I felt like we were all in it together, and it was one of those, for the file for me, that 2 or 3 you hang on to that really mattered. And it wasn't even about, you do a scene and it goes through a lot of filters before it gets on the air. I don't have any control over that.
Yeah.
But
Right.
that night in downtown Detroit, in the back of that car with 3 people I consider friends of mine, was all that matters to me ultimately.
That's awesome.
Great.
Oh.
It's ironic that these people were they cared about you in that scene. You guys had each other's backs, and ultimately what's projected on screen is that they don't care that much about you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's weird. Yeah, you have to like really have trust and understanding and empathy and compassion for the process of these people to get to a place where you look like you don't give a shit about anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And they let us riff, with the dialogue, because we were shooting for such a long period of time. It felt stilted to just say what was scripted and not just be able to talk and
Right.
Be natural.
Yeah, and they were nice enough, and they had put together a scene that worked. Reading it, I mean, I was like, wow, if I'm gonna check out, this is this
gonna
is
go.
good, right?
That dog, man.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my God, that line.
Yeah. Yeah. It was,
I just thought you were gonna just put your head like on the
So did
window.
I. I kind of saw that happening as well.
I did. I was like, he's just gonna go like this.
but it was a fun night actually. As soon as we finished shooting it, PJ, who plays Damon, we jumped in a truck and he drove me to the airport. I flew back for a wedding on Saturday, and then flew back the next day to Detroit.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
man.
It was just bizarre.
Marathon.
I was at a wedding on Saturday afternoon, and that morning I'd been in the back of a truck or back of a car in downtown Detroit, covered in fake blood. It's like, man, this is what life is this? This is so
Who am I?
bizarre.
Where
Fun
am
one.
I?
This is
A really fun
crazy.
one.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, so,
All
but
right.
yeah. it's a good time.
Well, we're gonna come back to this. We have to move on.
Do it.
And talk about the rest of the episode. So Frank and Joe, big developments this week in the case. Namely, that they figured out how to pin this on
Not
Billy Hobson.
they.
Yeah.
Joe.
Well, Joe jumped the gun.
By
Yeah.
pointing out the sink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A totally impulsive move. He did not consult Frank. He did it in front of Danny, so they'd have to stick with that story.
Right.
But Frank relented. I mean,
Yeah.
he really gave in to Joe.
He didn't really have a choice,
He
but he
didn't.
did. You know what I mean? Because Danny was there as well. It wasn't that he just said it to him and was like, "This is a good idea. Let's go with it." Like
Yeah.
he just put it out there and owned it and was like, "Frank, you're gonna follow this." But then we see that Frank does go along with it because it's a pretty good idea.
It's a pretty good idea, and they're not pinning it on anyone who's alive.
Right.
You know, like Frank is still very against, someone taking the fall for him. But if it's a dead guy who's probably also a murderer, he's
He wants a
on board.
victimless crime is what he really wants. I mean,
Yeah.
there's already been a crime, but he wants, if we're going to pin it on someone, they better be dead. They better be non-existent.
Yeah.
We're not going to send an innocent person to jail is his
Yeah,
issue.
he doesn't want someone to go down for what he did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I.
But I think it's sorry to interrupt. It's
Go
really
ahead.
funny how he's so like adamant that he doesn't want someone to go down for him. But I mean, it plays later importance, the whole forgery thing. But he was very like, but I don't want to forge any names. We're like, you're gonna like, you
Yeah, he's-
killed somebody.
You already killed the guy.
But you're
now.
worried about his signature. Come on, dude.
But he's like, but that was like revenge killing. Like this is like actual crime.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
There are no dirty signatures, only dirty cops.
It's
Yes,
just like
apparently.
moral cherry picking.
yeah,
It totally is.
totally.
I killed a guy a couple days. Who remembers that?
Yeah.
I feel like Joe's definitely like flexing his muscles by going to see Dee, the pastor guy, to talk about Billy and Anton and what he knew, and he's flexing his muscles, pointing out the sink. We found Brendan's murder site, and he's getting all this info and really like inserting himself in so that Frank isn't in like the lead boss anymore on this case.
Well, he's just trying to show Frank that he can't be cowed,
Right.
because Frank had put him in a box for a few episodes, and I think we're going to see some more tension between them as a result of what Frank discovered from all of these signatures.
Okay.
He was highlighting the signatures and then noticed that there were different sets of handwriting for multiple arrest reports, multiple
Right.
police reports. So either Joe was forging fake arrest records, or Brendan was. We're not entirely sure yet. It was left kind of ambiguous.
James is smiling.
I feel like James might know the answer.
Well, it's interesting to listen to people talk about what they think happens, and when I know what happens.
It's fun to be in that spot.
And you're
Yeah.
just dying to tell us,
it's
aren't
like,
you,
oh
James?
my gosh, it's I know like bold, big points that happen from here on out.
Right. Okay.
And what is this about Sean resurfacing? Like, I'm kind of wondering how this is this leading us down another trail,
Oh,
with
yeah.
him getting his free Coke score.
Free little. Well,
if that's what
I
it
think
was.
there's layers in there that
Yeah.
he apparently before like last episode we get reintroduced to this Sean, the Maya relationship, whatever, and it was that he was not supposed to come around the bar, and now he's taking it a step further, coming around the bar, but
Going
then
to Frank's house.
yeah, but then even in that, when Damon says to go away, like you can see Maya still has a soft spot for him,
Oh yeah.
and she gives him drugs.
I know.
Who does that?
She still loves him, for whatever havoc he wreaked throughout their marriage and the end of their marriage. I don't think that she left him that she left him hating him, you know? Like he just was
But if
incapable.
she still loves him, like in her mind, she thinks it's a good idea to give him drugs.
Well, maybe that's what it took to get him to leave the bar.
he was
Yeah.
walking out.
And Damon was gonna maybe kill him if he didn't leave the bar, so give him some. I don't know.
She's between a rock and a hard place. I think it's two things. I think you're right, Oriana, that she's trying to get him out of the bar, out of trouble before Damon gets all worked up. And we saw what happens when Damon gets upset.
Yes.
I was having a good day, and now I'm going to smack you
Right.
across the face.
Yeah, and I'm
because
going
of
to blame it on
your
someone
husband.
else. I'm
Yeah.
going to deflect what's really pissing me off and blame it on that you're flirting with Papa T.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's that, but also, you know, I think on some level she knows that's what he wants to do. He made a decision. I don't think that she let him live on the street for however long he's been there without trying to save him a few times. And I think that at some point, a person decides that they don't want to be saved.
Yeah, but even in that, someone, it might have been even your character. It was either you or Nick that said to her that you have a cousin.
Yeah, it was me.
That was you that said to her that you have a cousin in a sober house. And she didn't respond like, oh, I'm over that, or I've tried that already. There was no, like, exasperated, like, that's not going to work, dude. So did she really, like, we don't know exactly what happened to make it the way that it is.
Yeah. Well, tell me something, James. So, like, that scene, there were kind of layers to that discussion. You're like, you look even worse than the last time. And then you mentioned the sober house. Were you speaking specifically about Sean, or are you talking about her own drug use?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about.
I don't think it was direct for either one of them. I just think it was like, if you
Somebody
want to hear
needs
this,
help.
if you need to hear this, it's available. Or to him, just like, because my character doesn't do drugs.
Yeah.
You know, theirs do. I guess it was, for me, it was like put out there saying that we don't have to be these people that we're becoming, I guess. Like, I have no idea.
Like, I love the honesty.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, it's like, I mean, Sean's the father of Maya's kids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so I care about them. I knew them when they were a family.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like these kids that are taken away from you, and you're still doing coke behind the bar, and we're getting involved in like killing and this whole huge thing that like I didn't sign up for. And then Sean is out of work and useless and homeless and a junkie, and nobody seems to care that there was at one time something good.
And the one person who does care just died in the back of a car.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
I feel like it's a trend lately with these premium cable dramas. The people you like are always the first ones to die. And like the people who are actively doing good, like I think of mostly Game of Thrones, but it also happened on Under the Dome, pretty much like a few like really key positive characters died. One of the things that I appreciate about this show, but it is also kind of like difficult as a viewer, you know, you're watching the first, this is the 5th episode, and we have this heinous act of violence that opens the show. And then we get 3.5 episodes of world building, really, until we have another heinous act of violence where a positive character is killed. And I think we've been just kind of laying all this track, and now we're finally going to be able to speed up the locomotive a bit.
yeah, because initially they're asking a lot of a viewer. I mean, first of all, they drop you right in the middle of something.
Yeah.
Without any explanation, really, of what's happening. And the person they're asking you to care about is a cop who just killed another cop, and the object of his desire is a Russian whore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like, and it's the Frank character that the only time, like in the whole series or the whole 5 episodes, that he's been like open and honest is he's having a beer with a homeless guy who just smoked out of a crack pipe.
Yeah.
It's the only time he was like relaxed and could talk about the Katia and kind of just be a guy sitting on a stoop with a beer having a conversation with a friend, and it's
Who's a crackhead?
he was a crackhead.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was such an
I mean,
awesome scene.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it
it was
was.
like, and it was just so bizarre. I mean, he found this cat and he's petting the cat, talking about it, but it's like, wow, it's just interesting. I mean, and what's for me interesting to watch Mark do, is for him to be told things that are about him that he already knows, and just be stilly watching the people say them to him, and just watch him process and go through it. It's a complicated watch.
Yeah.
You know, I think.
Yeah.
And it's kind of one of those that I think after 10 episodes, like, stepping back and looking at it will be more appreciated than each individual
Weekly.
chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
And then for a season 2, you'll have more of a foundation.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, talking about these shows, these premium cable shows where people died, like, no one's safe on this series.
Okay.
You know, nobody.
Yeah.
So.
I have a quick question. You mentioned that when you were like in the bar talking with Maya, that you were there and it's something that you didn't sign up for. Was I reading into that, or is there something that you could tell us, like how you got to being Damon's guy?
I think I think every character on that's in a place in the situation they're in deserved better than what they got, being
Okay.
underprivileged in an inner city that's in ruin. And I think all the characters deserve better, but my character in particular, trying to make the best of the situation he was in, was probably, you know, dime bags and,
Right.
you know, just enough to like live and enjoy ourselves. And then next thing you know, shooting a guy in the head and robbing like a kilo of cocaine out of a trap house on the east side of Detroit. And it's just like, dude, like, what?
Due to one guy's decision.
Yeah, like,
a
I'm not up.
rogue guy.
I didn't know we were doing this. Like,
Yeah.
my character never has like a gun or is like shooting anyone, and
Right.
wasn't ever interested in needing to carry guns. And I know he's lying about that we have. You know, when we go talk to the Reverend Lowdown, that he's lying about having Skelos' permission to operate. Everything is just like, dude, this is just like piling up, and it's gonna be horrible.
Why do you think everyone kind of goes along with it?
Because I don't think anybody else either has like the wherewithal or balls to like step up and come up with a counter proposal.
Somebody
Right.
might.
Yeah,
one
and we're
day.
just idiots. I mean, we're like the other two guys in the group are
Knuckleheads.
I
They
mean,
are.
goofs.
Knuckleheads.
And
You
Billy's
see that in the opening scene.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Billy's character is just like insane.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, but like a good guy. You can see him wrestling with like not wanting to be
a killer.
a killer, but it's like
Yeah.
what he knows, you know.
what he
It's,
knows.
Except for
It's
Matt
it's
really,
just
wants,
tough.
Matt really wants him to be happy, even if that's killing people.
I think he deserves happiness. Even if
You
that
think
means.
everyone deserves happy?
Is that so wrong?
No.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
99.9%.
But it's a tough show to talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it just is, you know, because everybody's motives. I mean, the way I see it, maybe if PJ or Billy or Sprague were sitting here, their opinion on the exact same scene might be completely different.
But that keeps it interesting, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, and actor-wise, it's a blast to work on, be a part of.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I apologize, but like we need to just cover just a little bit more of the episode, and then we'll get into some more of this like in-depth conversation. We have to get back to this investigation,
Don't
guys.
apologize.
Okay.
I was thinking about the dribbler.
The dribbler.
The dribbler.
Boyd.
Oh my gosh, he is so disgusting.
He's so
I
creepy.
hate him.
Yeah. He's such a dick.
Smarmalade.
Marmalade.
Yeah.
He's so smart. He is out of smarm.
There's
James.
still
His
something.
arm is so thick you can spread it on toast.
There's
It's
a
called
thicker.
marmalade.
There's a thicker from him. He's trying to set someone up
Something.
on purpose. Those signatures. Something goes back.
Well,
to him.
here's the thing, right? So we get a couple of little bites from him. We see him talk to Diamond down at the bar, and we see him go to Katya's burned down home. So one assumes that he found that house from Diamond, right? And he finds a Christmas ornament there. I don't know the significance of the Christmas ornament. It wasn't really charred up.
But he
that
brought
bad.
it up in the meeting with the mayor, where they're putting together that story that's going to go to the public.
Yeah.
And he brings it up.
The
They cover it though.
Katya.
Yeah, well, no, they shout him down. They don't cover it. They basically they present this story, and then Joe just kind of shouts him down, and the government want a scapegoat. They want to have this settled. They wanted it settled that day. They wanted it settled then, or the lieutenant was going to be out in Flint doing patrol.
Which
you know?
we know is not realistic, but it's probably realistic as far as how government and public office works is that they want to meet for the people. They want to feed the people.
They want to feed the people. They want to look like they're doing something, and they're hungry for an answer that makes sense. And I think when they're presented with one that could be plausible, they want it to be the truth.
I think that's the case in a lot of police investigations.
Yeah. You want it to be the truth, because then you can move on to other things. You can shut it, and you can move forward. Yeah. And Boyd kind of gets thrown under the bus with this presentation.
How great was it, the process of getting the answer with their all-nighter?
I loved that.
That was
drinking
great. And staying, just till midnight. It's 9 o'clock, 9:05. 3 more hours. That was fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah.
Till the sun came up.
Mm-hmm.
It's just interesting to hear how they could play it out. Well, if he went here, well, no, if he went this way, like so. But it's scandalous.
If you've ever worked,
Fat men roll in twos.
That
was one of my favorite lines from the show.
Yeah.
You said something about waddle up. Fat men roll in twos.
Yeah. Well, there
were so many good one-liners from this show.
There was a lot of good
But for anybody who's ever had to brainstorm under a time crunch, I felt like that was so realistic. You're just running down all the possibilities, and you're throwing out ones that don't make sense, and you're just narrowing that field further and further and further. At one point, Joe wanted to pin it on the menthol cigarettes. Menthol here, menthol there. And he's like, boom, cracked it. And he's like, dude, come on. That is circumstantial at best. Half the city smokes menthol. He's like, it's not my fault. I'm stupid. We had it. Let's go to bed. Damn.
Yeah.
And then Frank looks just so well rested at that meeting.
Doesn't he? And why is it that Joe looks terrible and hungover? And
Joe's
Frank
doing
looks... right?
Yeah.
Was he?
Well, not in this episode.
No, but he does it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But Frank looked amazing for once, and Joe looked like crapola.
Yeah.
Crapola.
Yeah.
Crapola.
As they start their hunt for Abdullah, Osama, whatever.
Osama bin whatever. So
Osama,
they don't
whatever,
care.
but
the person that does not exist.
The person that does not exist.
And so that's what they're doing as they go into this fight that everyone's so excited about.
Yeah.
With homicide.
Well, with Trey, which I wish that his first and last name began with H's, because then he could be like H something, homicide H something, because I love alliteration.
Well, H squared.
That would make me happy.
That would make you happy. Okay, well, note to the writers next time.
Yeah. Even if it was just his last name, Trey Homicide Harding. Boom. You have a
Henry.
minted star right there.
That's funny.
But it was
He practically committed homicide on his opponent.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, though. So we find out this episode that Frank is an orphan.
Yes.
And I think that boxing, he's giving back to Trey because no one was there to support him when he was trying to take his shot.
Or that was the only support he received as a kid was in the boxing club.
Sure. Well, it was the only positive feedback I'm sure that he got, but he had no one backing him. He had no one paying for him to be working on it all the time.
Right. So he didn't have to pull luggage at the airport?
Exactly. Because I'm sure Frank had to support himself from a very young age, and that's why he was never able to really have a real shot at the title. But boxing kind of has a through line through this show. Joe gives a bit of his backstory. He says his dad was a boxer. Yeah. And he used to talk about how his dad had sparred with Sugar Ray Leonard and was a total lie.
But boxing is that sort of allegory of, poverty. There's really only one way to come out, and you've got to come out fighting.
Yeah.
And it's those poor cities. We saw The Fighter from Boston and all that. It's like the poor kids. Sometimes that's the only way you get out. You make a name for yourself, and you fight. And when you're a winner, people want to put money on you, and it's your only real chance out.
Yeah, and
it's also a safe way to channel anger and angst and hatred.
And there's plenty of that to go around in Detroit.
Like
what was it? Emmanuel Stewart, until he died recently, had that famous gym in Detroit. So it's very prominent in that city. There's been numerous, world champions come out of the city of Detroit. So it's a very real thing in that town.
Yeah. Well, it's also a fitting metaphor for Joe and Frank and this case, and this cover up, because even in that moment where Trey, you think he's almost down, right? Trey, who's never been cut, he's never been bled, couple of big punches from his opponent, and everyone's like, oh no, this is happening. He's like, no, watch what he's gonna do. He'll get out of there. And then at the last second, the guy throws a haymaker, he swerves, uppercut, bam, right to the face. You know, if you're
Oh my god! Any of these terminologies.
I know things that would make your head spin.
Apparently.
Just like James, I have secrets. Yeah.
Way to bring it back around.
Yeah,
I like it.
but you know, like in
We
many
were both like,
in many ways, you know, like this speech to the mayor, this presentation was their uppercut, you know, against Boyd and against really the whole department. And we're gonna see, I think, Boyd fight back.
oh yeah.
In the
Way
next
to
episode.
tie it together.
Yeah.
You impress me every time, Matthew.
Oriana, this is the Low Winter Sun after show, not the Matt Lieberman after show.
You're right.
Thank you.
You're
but
welcome.
Let's talk more. So, we got a little development, and like a troubling development, right?
A few?
On the Frank and Danny front.
Oh my gosh.
She went for it.
Ah, you knew it was coming.
I
though.
know.
You
He
knew.
literally cock-blocked her. He like put his, he
There
like
was
literally
really-
went, he did a
gave her the
physical
big
block.
He gave her the stiff arm.
Stiff
It wasn't
arm.
like the cop.
No.
block, it was the stiff
Well, I was thinking
arm.
he blocked him from there being any of that action. But you're right, it was a stiff arm.
Usually
it was
that takes another
awful.
person though.
I know, but I was thinking he did
She
it
was just like,
I wasn't expecting, like,
was
I felt like
awful.
the magnetic pull, right? But I didn't expect her to actually go for
Yeah,
it
I didn't
because I'm
think
so
she-
used to dudes going for it, right?
Yeah, she went for it.
She
She,
went.
her eyes were all glittery, and there was a moment, and he just, oh,
Which is
so
just crazy
sad.
because I didn't picture her to be the one that would cross that work. You know, don't stick your
Yeah,
pen in the
she's such a
company ink.
professional.
Yes.
You
But
know.
maybe she's such a good girl and such a good professional that she just maybe wants to be bad once in a while.
Maybe, but here's what
But not at work.
Not-
Like, they were
Not at
still there.
She's at a boxing match
Right, but still.
and got all excited.
Frank
about
was the one
her.
who
He
said
told her,
leave the work at
right,
work.
but it was like 4 of them walking away. Like it was just the 2 of them in a bar. I could maybe be like, all right, she
Give the
went for
girl
it.
a break.
Hey, I'm not saying what she did was wrong. She just got stiff armed because it was not good timing.
She got what? I'm sorry, stiff armed.
yes,
Stiff armed. She got stiff-armed?
She got Stef Z'd.
Yeah, she got Stef Z. Oh damn.
I just thought.
Is that a
yeah.
Stef Z special? Oh no.
That probably was the stuff.
You ain't good enough for this piece.
But I was commenting that the thing about Frank is that even if he has feelings for her, he cannot let her in for multiple reasons. One,
Right.
Katya is still on his, brain, mind. However, if he lets her in, he's
Oh God, if she
too-
only knew, she wouldn't want in.
She would, exactly. He
You
would
know?
be too vulnerable. Like, we know he's an emotional wreck inside. And so as soon as she gets a tiny peep into his world and emotionality, and Lord knows what he's involved in, the whole thing comes tumbling down.
But here's the thing, right? I think by the same token, Frank will at some point this season have to seduce her in an attempt to like, if she's
Cover
onto
his
the
ass.
if she's onto
Yeah.
the case, right? If he can get her incriminated somehow by getting her involved with him and making her look dirty, then she has no power.
She loves
I don't
him.
think he'll try and make her look dirty. I think she's gonna find out something about him, and he's gonna have to schmooze her to not telling on him.
Or she's just gonna do the thing we talked about before, which would be cover up for him in hopes of winning his amor.
But that's career suicide.
Yeah, but like I said,
over a
her
dude?
her parents
No.
have very high expectations of her. We know that.
I know, but she's trying to get into the FBI. She wouldn't throw that away for a guy.
He does have that nose.
I mean, people.
I know. It's a
That nose
powerful
is so
nose.
sexy.
It's his it's his Samson
Samson's
hair. You know? You shave off that nose, he has no strength.
Yeah,
Unlike what's his name, who had what did they say he had? Like big ears,
small ears and
tiny head, big ears, and smoke Mentos. I'm like,
Yeah. Billy
that
Hobson.
was a good line too. Yeah.
Lots of quotable lines this
And
episode.
I really enjoy that too. That it's loosening up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
it was so
Yeah.
heavy. The pilot was so heavy.
and the
that
second episode too.
we were kind of. I
Yeah.
remember sitting there going, just, "Wow, okay." And now I'm laughing and enjoying more. Every episode is a little more lighthearted, even though this stuff is going on. It's still pretty
Super
awful.
heavy.
But some levity was like
Yes, it's
needed,
needed.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Definitely.
You just needed to die.
Yeah.
Aw.
Let's throw a party.
She's
Season
kidding.
6, episode 6 is gonna be fucking hysterical.
Yeah. Episode 6 is just going to be wall to
It's
wall
gonna be
laughs.
so funny.
Oh my God.
Unbelievable.
They're going to push you into a grave, and there's just going to be
Yeah.
kazoos.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Kazoos and
Kazoos,
It's gonna be like shooting like a
confetti.
faux rap video where they're like
Pinwheels.
pouring 40s on. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
gonna be-
they'll
it's
walk
gonna be
you
all right.
around
Some
Weekend
pile.
at Bernie's
Yeah,
style.
the guy with the burnt hand.
I was kind of thinking,
Wow.
are they just going to kick the body out of the car? Or are they
That's what
gonna
I
do-
thought. I thought it was going to end on they dump the body
And
out
I
of the
thought
car and
without
drive
the
off.
dumping of the body, that's,
You just gotta watch.
we're just
Yeah.
going to
That's
have
why I
to
thought
watch.
maybe he
It'll
got
all be revealed to
resuscitated.
you.
It will be revealed in time. Because they can't just dump the body, because then the heat's going to come down on them. They need to get rid of the
Acid.
body.
I heard acid's good for that.
Who'd you hear that from?
I don't know.
Or do you have secrets?
Just a little secret.
Wait,
Yeah, it's
who are
lie.
you?
Lie's good for that.
Yeah, lie. Yeah. Season 1 of Breaking Bad. Look it up.
Yeah.
They did that on the
In the
bridge this season
bathtub.
too.
Oh,
They
yeah.
put lie on somebody
Ooh.
last week.
Wait, isn't lie just to like cancel out the smell?
I have no idea. I may have just made it all up.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, James, you're loud. Okay, any other lingering questions from this episode before we step back into kind of more of a formal interview?
I think we need to mention Maya got slapped in the
And
face.
she slapped him right back.
She slapped him right back, but,
Well, but she slapped him first, and he slapped her back.
yeah, but then she said, the way she said, don't hit me,
I
made
am
me
your
feel that it
wife.
happened before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am your wife. You talk to me. You don't
You
hit
talk
me.
this. He's like, I am talking. I know you ain't.
She's like,
And
was
then
pissed.
but then the
But then-
the makeup sex. Why would she give him? He doesn't deserve the makeup
this
sex.
is part of their love affair.
Yeah.
This is part
It's
of
the
their
cycle.
Yeah, it is the cycle. It's their kind of I'm the boss. No, I'm the boss. I'm gonna rough you up. We're in charge. Let's have sex. Whatever.
yeah, but there was probably like from him, I would see him being like, "Come here, babe. Come here," to her. Like he like crawls back to her.
Come here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm
Sure.
sorry,
I'm
babe.
sorry.
Come here.
I won't do that again.
Yeah.
Take your pants off. Thank you for bringing the cake.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
more. Yes,
Dum-dum.
bringing the cake.
Yeah.
And she does make that. She says burning through that much.
Yeah.
After she hugs Papa T, and she goes burning through that much.
Well, 'cause
so
he-
what exactly?
Well,
so
he was still
personal use?
pissed. Well, I think all of them, but he was still pissed because then she was like, "I'm not just your delivery bitch," and then he was saying about how she was flirting with Papa T, but it really came back all to Sean.
Yeah.
So he was just pissed about the whole thing, or feeling insecure.
I would like everyone to see my artwork that I can only describe as a downward spiral for Damon.
That is
That's-
a downward
it was what I
spiral.
just realized that Damon is going down in a downward spiral. I mean, he's
Yeah.
losing his power to everyone else. Like, he's losing his power to Maya. He's losing his power to Sean. He's losing his power to Papa T because he's so insecure.
Yeah.
He's just falling apart. And I feel
Well,
like
he
that's
wasn't that stable to begin with.
He wasn't,
Just got way ahead of
obviously.
himself. Obviously, it's like, quickly. Like,
But it just makes him
Quickly.
that much more dangerous.
But you know what was
To be
crazy
that
to me?
insecure.
I thought
True.
it was kind of a powerful scene when you see him in the safe and you see that there's a gun in the safe, and it's just him and Papa T, and he chooses not to take that gun.
Yeah.
He takes the gun, but he doesn't shoot him there. Because doesn't he take a shot
He takes
later?
it,
in
Well,
and
the
then
Gus
scene?
takes the first shot. No,
Gus takes the first shot, but then
he has one.
he
Yeah.
pulls it out of his back of
Yeah.
his pants.
he had always intended to use it.
But you're absolutely
but
right.
Gus
He
got off
had
the first shot.
He had the
he had the
chair.
opportunity to take out the big man, but then there would have been a bum rush. Who
and he
knows?
would have been in more danger.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we have time for like one or two questions for James, and then we'll move into predictions. So I just want to talk about like one of the things that I love about the show, right? Is Detroit itself. It's such a unique place to set a TV series. I haven't seen any there. It lends so much color to it. What was it like shooting this show on the streets of Detroit?
Bizarre.
Yeah.
And like,
Because I know shooting only just ended a couple weeks
well,
ago.
places you wind up that, like, you would never be otherwise, ever, in the history of your life, ever. It's just so dangerous and so bleak, and so sad, like on the east and west sides. I mean, our production offices were beside the Packard plant. It's like several miles of just abandoned ruin.
Wow. And this was before they'd even announced they were
Bankrupt. Yeah.
bankrupt.
Yeah. But it's,
So-
I mean, it's a nice backdrop. Like, I mean, I thought, like, as someone who if I had never been there, that first episode where Frank walks out of his house and you see the house across the street,
Yes.
it's like burned out and
Yes.
graffiti. That's exactly how it is, because all the horrible places aren't like low-income housing, because people went to Detroit because of the guarantee of the jobs in the automotive field, and it's a lot of middle-class neighborhoods and homes that are abandoned and burned out. People couldn't make a mortgage, they left, turned them over to the bank. The bank realized no one's ever coming back, so forget it, we don't want it, so
Right.
it just sits there. And it was crazy. No street lights on, just scary and desolate and like kind of post-apocalyptic. But at the same time, the downtown area, the architecture is staggering, but there's just no one's in any of the buildings. Then you move out to some of the suburbs and stuff, and there's a lot of. It's an interesting place. The people are really interesting, and people care about the place. People that live there care.
Right.
And there's like a spirit and a vibrancy that still kind of pulsates through people that have pride in where they come from.
And I feel like that comes through in the show. I mean, that gritty feel. And I remember we talked about on that pilot episode of the house, there's a scene where there's a dog that runs by that has like a dead animal in its mouth.
Yeah.
And just that painting the picture of kind of a dog-eat-dog, dirty rat sort of place, but not.
And we drive around and see
accident.
abandoned dogs like that. Just they would look like coyotes just running the streets, but they were, dogs, and it's just rough.
Heavy.
It's just rough, and it was and it's one of those where you hear about it and people talk about it, you see it covered on the news, see photographs. It's a totally different deal when you've been there.
Sure.
Like, totally different, and it's almost doesn't do it any justice to try to describe. Yeah. But you see these burned out places that are like butted up to Comerica Park, where adults are playing a kids game for millions of dollars, but you live right beside the park, but it's like completely out of reach. Like that life.
Wow.
That American dream is so far away.
So still talking about dogs, have you had a Coney dog?
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask.
That's American.
American
or
or Lafayette? Which side do you fall on, sir?
I'm a vegetarian.
Oh my God. Disappointing.
So disappointing, but I mean,
That was
you're
amazing.
forgiven.
They were waiting the whole episode.
I'm just dying.
I know, I'm so sorry.
I'm a vegetarian, but my buddy, who's an actor that's from Detroit, the hotel I stayed in was on the street where the hot dog places are, and he said that like divides people. Like I mean, completely.
It's like your gang
it's
affiliation.
totally true. Like you're either Lafayette or you're American, and there's just no.
There's no in between.
There's no in between. You're not. There's just not. There's no in between. It's bizarre.
I had a conversation with a neighbor this week that's from Detroit, and he essentially said it's like picking your side, picking your gang, and it's all in the chili. Apparently, one's spicier than another, different flavors.
I've never had.
I wouldn't know,
right.
but
Me neither.
until next time.
Yes, until next time. I just want to quick predictions before we head out. We're running out of time.
It's gonna get better.
Yeah.
All right, Steph Z, predictions.
I think a big fight between Maya and Damon about Michael here's death is happening. I feel like that's gonna linger a little bit. Blame is gonna be thrown around for that, I think. And Boyd's just gonna stick his freaking nose somewhere again to screw a wrench in the plan.
Totally.
The dribbler's gonna do something.
Yeah, he's just
got
looking.
something up his
dribble
There's
all
something
over
else about him.
everybody.
He's just got that look on his face, like I know something you don't know.
Oriana.
Essentially the same thing. I mean, I think the dribbler is going to dribble out some more information, whether real, fabricated, whatever his intentions are. I think Damon is on an explosive path, the downward spiral. He saw my artistic rendering.
I like that spiral.
Thanks. Other than that, more drama.
Okay. I think Sean's the one to watch.
Ooh.
He is a loose cannon. He has connections to the crime side and to Frank, and I think that he is somehow going to be instrumental to somebody's downfall because he has no allegiance.
Real quick, guy that plays Sean, New York actor. It's his first TV job. Just does a bunch of theater here and overseas. He brought his own dirt to Detroit to cover himself with.
Wow.
He looked like the first time I saw him was in the lobby of the hotel, and I was like, that guy's got to be an actor. They would get him out of here. He was like method homeless guy the whole time he was there. His own dirt. Yeah,
That's
own
crazy.
dirt from New York.
Well, it definitely
Who knew?
paid off.
There you go.
All right, I want to thank James for coming on the show. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And we're super excited. We have some more special guests, hopefully later in the season, possibly next week. So please stick around. We'll probably make a formal announcement once we know for sure.
Yeah.
James, where can the people find you?
They can find you on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's how I found you.
Oh, yeah, you did. We got a little Twitter friendship going, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
That's nice.
And where can they find you?
Yeah. What's your Twitter handle?
James Harvey Ward.
Okay.
That's my name.
That's your name. Don't wear it out.
Yeah.
Stef, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at IAMSTEFZ.
All right. Oriana Leo.
You can find me on Twitter at Miss Oriana Leo or online at bethebestguest.com.
Okay. And you can find me on Twitter at Matt Lieberman. That's MattLieberman. You can also find me here on AfterBuzz TV on the Breaking Bad and Under the Dome after shows. We're really excited. We have Jolene Purdy who's guesting on our after show for Under the Dome this week. So please stick around for that on Thursday. Thank you guys so much. Thanks again to James. Have a great night.
You.
Woo!
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.